And a few weeks before that trip, my ex-husband had gotten fired from his job and was yet again unemployed.
Women will leave you for whatever excuse they can manufacture once you don't fit into their ideal man criteria.
And I lost it. Like, I just finally had a meltdown. And I remember saying to my poor mother, what's worse, putting the kids through a divorce or spending the rest of my life with this idiot?
Today, I walked away from my marriage and I left my husband. Not everything you see on social media is the truth. And as much as it hurts, it was for the best. And obviously, I'm really upset.
She decided to do an IVF with semen from an unknown donor and subsequently divorced her husband. Yet, she is on social media claiming victim.
Things work, and I can only take so much emotional and verbal and psychological neglect. I have to start thinking about my future child and protecting her as well. And as much as it hurts, it was for the best. And obviously, I'm really upset that things turned out this way. But it had to be done because I was gonna miscarry if it didn't, from the stress of having to deal with a toxic relationship.
She said she was in a toxic relationship, but digging into her profile, I saw a very supportive man who was with her all through her years of infertility. Now she got what she wanted. He suddenly became toxic. Women will always fall back to the victim mentality after a divorce. And it does not matter if you are the most amazing man in the world. That will still not be enough. Keep watching.
I asked for prayers and I asked for peace and kindness. Please don't contact my husband. Don't ask any questions that I'm not ready to answer. I just need peace and love right now as I go back to my single mom by choice, not by choice journey. It's a nightmare. I'm living in a nightmare.
She asked her followers not to contact her husband or ask her any question. They should just believe and move on. This clearly indicates to me that her husband was used and dumped for convenience.
2 months before my ex-husband and I finally separated, we had a trip to Disney planned. And a few weeks before that trip, my ex-husband had gotten fired from his job and was yet again unemployed. I think the wives on here already know before I say it, but I planned that trip myself from top to bottom. It's not because I didn't want help. It's not because I didn't ask for help. It's because he would not give me help. I had narrowed down the Airbnbs to a handful of options, and I just wanted him to finalize the decision with me. Could not be bothered to find 5 minutes to sit down and look at houses with me. So I rented the house myself. I rented the minivan to drive there myself. I coordinated the trip from Pennsylvania to Florida for 4 adults, my parents went with, and 2 kids, myself. And if you've ever planned a trip to Disney, you know you don't just show up on a whim to Disney. You need to know which days you're going to which parks, and then within those parks, you need to know which restaurants you really want to go to, because you have to reserve them months in advance, especially if it's like the high demand restaurants. And then you want to do your fast passes for the big rides in advance, and then you have to coordinate your lunch reservations with your ride reservations to make sure you can get there in time. So there I am looking at maps of the parks, trying to coordinate. Can we get from that ride to that restaurant? Is that enough time? Like hours of planning, hours and hours of planning. And then packing everything for the kids for a week in Florida, plus obviously packing everything for myself. All this man had to do was show up. He just had to show up with a suitcase of clothing. I paid for everything. I coordinated everything. He just had to show up. And do you think he appreciated that? No. Shocker, right? The bitching and moaning this man did the entire trip, nothing suited. Nothing
Maybe you would
suited.
have considered the fact that he just lost his job, and the next thing you did was to plan a visit to Disney, inviting your own parents and making him look incompetent in front of them. Why do you have to bring your parents along? Let's continue.
It was too hot. It was Florida. There was too much walking. There was too much waiting in line. What's the point of having reservations if you still have to wait when you get there? Why is our lunch reservation at 1:45? Who eats lunch at 1:45? Because that's what was available. Because that particular restaurant, I remember it. I don't remember what it's called, but it's the one in Magic Kingdom where like Winnie the Pooh and them all are. And it was important to let the kids have lunch with Winnie the Pooh, even if it was at 1:45, right? Just like nothing about it suited. And if you have young kids, ours were 5 and 2 at the time, and you're planning a trip to Disney, you know that that trip is not really about you. You might find some stuff that you enjoy while you're there, but the trip is for the kids. It's about letting them have that magic experience, and then you get your fulfillment from watching them have that experience, right? Like, you're not going to get to do everything you want to do, but you want to try and get your kids as many of those experiences. So we had lunch at some weird times so that the kids could have lunch with the characters. Like, that's just what you do. But every part of this trip was just so much bitching and moaning, and nothing I had done was good enough. Everything was, well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Bitch, why didn't you help plan it? What the rest of my life was going to be like with this man. It was going to be me doing everything and it never being appreciated. And I just couldn't do it. Let's stop pretending that letting your partner default to making all the decisions is somehow doing them a favor.
Don't be deceived by her rants. She is the type that complains about everything. She posted a video complaining about her work earlier, and it seems she has an habit of complaining about everything in her life. Let's take a look.
Just pulled into work. Actually, I've been sitting here a few minutes, but I pulled into work and the building was not engulfed in flames. Not even so much as a smolder. It's really disappointing because that's what I wished for the entire drive here. So I have to actually go in and work now, and I was not prepared for that mentally. So I hope your day's off to a better start. But I was sitting here actually, got an idea. Maybe I'll float past you. So you ever see that movie, Horrible Bosses? Not a good movie, but the concept. And then I think there's an older one, something like Strangers on a Train. I think Strangers on a Train. But anyhow, the idea is like, I don't know you, you don't know me, we live a couple towns apart, but like I have a problem you could help me with, and you have a problem I could help you with. You know? So maybe I come light your work on fire, and you get a couple days off, and then maybe you come and light my work on fire, and I get a couple days off. No killing or anything. We're not killing. Just a little bit of light arson.
Well, that says a lot about her character. If you like this video, then check my description box for links to tons of my amazing videos. Till next time, this is your guardian.